Right. We're in view. Okay. All right, guys, let me know if you can hear me, you can see me. Check 1, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, it's pretty early. 6:48 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I didn't know if anyone was going to be showing up right now, but I was just curious. Let's see. Title of the live stream today: No room for bears in crypto. I hope you like the thumbnail. The thumbnail's fun. Okay. I'll let you guys get in here. Okay, so Benjamin Cohen said, so many people have held on to worthless altcoins for so long on the elusive promise of an alt season. However, macro conditions and the monetary policy were not favorable this cycle for them. And we can kind of see that represented in the kind of stopping point of a chart that we've shown a lot on this channel, which is the ETH BTC ratio chart. Now, if you were to look at where we stopped on the daily, you can see we stopped right here at the 0.04. But we came from a bottom, a similar bottom of where we were in previous pre-altcoin seasons. So we had a bottoming out a little lower in 2016 because we had, we're going to look at this, we'll full screen it. If you look at where the bottoms are on this ETH BTC ratio chart, you can see we have one here. This is in 2016. We had one here. It's 2020. And so this was right before 2017. This was Christmas 2016. Had that nice run up. Then you fast forward, we actually same Christmas, December 2019. We had a bottoming. Boom. And then, interesting enough, has happened in the same time. So I wonder. I start to think to myself, okay, and we had a bottom out here in 2025, but then we rallied up. And now we're in this purple zone, this purple line where we're at 0.03. So if you guys are just coming in, you have, this is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart on Binance on the weekly time frame. This is a very telling chart of where we are. And so we're actually finally on the weekly trading still above the 200-day moving average. And when we have started to trade and stay above the 200-day moving average, we could potentially continue to trade in this range and touch up to the next resistance point, which is revealed by the order block. You can see a big order block here, this red one here, at the ratio point of 0.06. When we get to 0.06, which I think is we're pretty close. I mean, it's right. We're so close to being able to get and try and test that resistance point again and continue this this ratio up to this spot. And I think once we get there, we're going to start getting the alts moving like we would like to. So more so than they had previously this year. It's very lackluster, kind of represented by everyone's disdain. People are not very happy with this particular run. Maybe they thought it was going to do a lot of different things and it ended up doing the complete opposite. We end up having gold and silver breaking all-time highs, and it's pretty telling. We're going to go chart real quick because it is freaking crazy. Where is? Yeah. Both gold and silver have reached historic high prices. So we're gonna read this real quick. So the spot price of gold bullion and futures markets just hit $4,441 per ounce, and silver has reached $69 per ounce. So these are the highest prices in history for gold and silver, and the precious metals show no sign of stopping their rise in price. And so as the United States government continues to deficit spend and print money to pay for its excessive spending, they are eroding the value of the other US dollars in circulation. So we've talked about this. And over the past 5 years, that's what's actually contributed to the debasement of the currency, is just the massive money printing over the past 4 or 5 years. And so a lot of people who were kind of a little forward thinking, not a little, but a lot forward thinking, started to really push into gold and silver, knowing that this would be the, quote, speculation trade. But it's more so than speculation, because it's not just about gold and silver being something that a commodity that is like a tradable commodity. It's more or less, there are companies that are worth trillions of dollars that need a lot of silver. And so silver is required in a lot of things that we use in a consumer-based economy, with phones and cars, and a lot of technological things that require the use of silver. So it could be that silver has just been manipulated, that we explained in a video that we made that silver is purposefully manipulated, and it had been for a long time, and a lot of different events showed that they were able to manipulate it by the futures market, the CME futures market. They either make it really expensive or really cheap to hold contracts, and they could switch it right overnight and make it to where you could get liquidated. And it's a similar tactic that was used in the mass liquidation of the cryptocurrency markets on October 10th. Same play. And it's used as a method of FUD and to scare the crap out of people, because then they'll kind of go off of post-traumatic stress of like what happened before. And so, but this time it didn't work as strong and didn't work to shake out the physical buyers of silver and gold. So I'd like to think about that in the same way of the cryptocurrency markets, where they tried to shake us out through the mass leveraging and the deleveraging of the market. And so then it made it to where people just stopped just buying spot crypto in general. And so I think in the same way, we've gotten convinced that it's all over and we shouldn't be accumulating spot crypto. But at these fear and greed, extreme fear right now, this is the time where millionaires are made, essentially. Because you're buying the fear, you're buying the absolute lows, maybe not the absolute lows, at least near them, because at a point, if Bitcoin goes to 60K or it stays in the range of where it is right now, I don't think that's really going to make too big of a difference at a point where Bitcoin is at $1 million per coin. At that point, does it matter if you got a dollar cost base average of 90K or 60K or 70K or 80? I really don't think it matters. You think the people that bought Bitcoin 10 years ago really cared so much about the price at certain points? Probably not, because now at a point where it did go to $126,000 per Bitcoin, and maybe their dollar cost averaging cost basis was like 35K, but they've been buying all over the place. So at a point, it doesn't necessarily matter. It's just how long can you stay in the markets? Like, how long are you able to ride the waves of volatility? And that's what I think people are having a hard time with right now, because some people who got into crypto got into it, this is their first cycle. So they're not used to the volatility. I think it takes one cycle or two to really break you in to the level of volatility and the type of framework and environment that you come into when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's a lot different. And so, but I think the whole financial markets are becoming like that, where we have tokenized stocks. We have everything is 24 hours. There's less limits and limitations on how you can trade stuff. It used to be a lot harder to trade and get access to accounts and liquidity and all these things. But now you can get a collateralized margin loan, flash loans in crypto, and be able to go right in and just start getting exposure. So it's a different type of environment that we're in right now. And so, but we have to know that that's not going to change. It's only going to continue to grow, and we have to get better at riding the waves of volatility. All right, so let's continue this article. So the erosion of value is one of the chief reasons the price of gold is rising. So the erosion of the value of the dollar is an obvious reason of why gold is rising. That's always been the thing. Is like gold has still been a form of money and is used as a form of money because there's economies that are built still on gold reserves. So the gold economy, the West pretends doesn't exist. And we're learning more about this. It's gold isn't just a speculation trade. It's what countries like Turkey, gold is still used for savings, banking, accounting, long-term financial security, while the West treats buying gold as a trade. And so entire economies continue to rely on it as money. And you think about how, the BRICS countries, this is BRICS being Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, BRICS. These countries have acquired gold for a long time, but now are actually more so trying to get their reserves and their treasuries and their ratios in gold instead of it being in the US dollar. Because before, all of these countries' currencies are backed by the US dollar, which is the world reserve currency, but is slowly starting to be devalued because of what our economy, the feds, our economists have done with our monetary system by printing a shit ton of money. So by inflating the US dollar supply, it's pushed countries that used to be more strength in the dollar and holding treasuries and relying on the success of the American economy with the dollar have now been pushed into buying gold. And now it seems like silver is the next kind of run up, but for more so not geopolitical reasons, but more so for supply and demand reasons. Because I think more so than gold, there's more of a demand or supply for silver than there is gold. So really, really interesting how this is all starting to play out. Because let's continue. So the meteoric rise of silver this year is directly tied to the new battery technology. So we're talking about the supply and demand for it. The new battery technology from Samsung. So Samsung has found a viable way to use silver as the anode inside rechargeable batteries, the kind of batteries used for electric vehicles. So while present technologies give EVs a range of about 300 and 400 miles, so that's kind of like the base default average of what most electric vehicles can go for a full charge is about 300 to 400 miles. Then needing hours to recharge. So Samsung's new batteries can provide 600-mile range and full recharge in 9 minutes. This is all because of the new technology used with silver. So now do you see why silver could go to $150 to $200 an ounce in the next year? This is how. In order to achieve that, Samsung will need about 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds of silver per car battery. But right now, even with all of the silver mining around the world, supply and demand, the silver market is already short about 200 million ounces a year. Samsung's new technology will cause that shortage to rise by an estimate 800 million ounces per year. So with physical silver metal becoming scarce, the price is skyrocketing, up about 67% this year alone. There's no sign of the price hike abating. This is crazy. So this is, I think, the biggest indicator and chart commodity that we can look at that gives us a clear sign of supply and demand about to take place. And so Bitcoin has had this in its code. It's built into the code to have supply and demand scarcity, because there's only 21 million Bitcoin that can ever exist. And there's other cryptos that are just like this too. It's just like, there's only a certain amount of Litecoin. I believe there's only a certain amount of Zcash. There's still 21 million Zcash is very fundamental of Bitcoin's original supply. Difference with Zcash obviously is you got your shielded ZK proof transactions. But the thing with Bitcoin that still is in play is the 4-year halving cycle, because we do have a 4-year halving cycle that's just in it. That is a timed event that is part of the Bitcoin cycle. But what has given us these 4-year, quote, bull market, bear market scenarios is adding in the altcoins that we've had over new altcoins coming in. We've got the, new technologies, new tech, smart contracts, Ethereum, layer 2s. We've got all these new things coming in afterwards that adds to what gives us our alt seasons. And then now we have a whole new metric of things that we're trying to equate to the growth and scarcity and network effect of Bitcoin. So we've had 2 different cycles represented, like we've shown in the ETH BTC ratio chart, that there's really only been 2 altcoin seasons, and everything before them was just like Bitcoin and whatever else came after that has a lot of it has come and gone. And like, for instance, like BitConnect, BitConnect got there's things like Safe Moon and whatever, anything called safe, probably not that safe. Things have come and gone, but we still have these data that we can at least go off of from these alt seasons that we had, which we only had 2, really. We've only had 2. So I'm curious to see the true supply and demand network effect happen with Bitcoin well past 126, 200K, 300K. Like, I think to think that Bitcoin is just going to stop and then, quote, go to zero at 200K or 250K is just kind of crazy. Especially to think of when you look at the chart and the growth of Bitcoin over time. It's just, look. What a network effect. And I bet if we draw a trend line on this, like, people hate trend lines, especially now. People are so fed up with drawing lines on the charts because they're not going where they want them to. But let's see. Ultimately, you look at this trend from this extended, stretched out kind of thing we've had going on here. No parabolic crazy runs to the upside. This is what I'm hoping for. Bouncing off this trend right here and getting into that circle point. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But welcome, everyone. I don't even know if anyone's even in here. There might be 0 people watching. It's a quiet chat, so... Okay. I hope you guys are learning a little bit about some silver here, and how the markets in the metals market is going to eventually correlate into crypto. I know you're thinking, well, no, like, crypto is just, it looks so bad right now. We probably should pack it up and just buy gold and silver. This is crazy though. This is the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. I got to follow. I don't know why I haven't already followed this account. So this is why we follow the politicians. So back on September 24th, 2024, we flagged Representative Debbie Schultz suspicious buy of Helka Mining. Okay, Helka Mining. Why was it suspicious? Helka is the largest silver producer in America. She sat on the Environment, Manufacturing, and Critical Minerals Subcommittee. She's had a history of being one of the best political traders out there. So since her filings on 9/24, HL is up 200%. Well, what do you know? That's crazy. Yeah, probably should be following these people that are getting some tips on the silvers and gold market here. I thought this was funny. Me at Christmas dinner waiting to shift the conversation to currency debasement. And then I wanted to see what you guys thought. If you're a fan of Solana, what is your favorite Solana wallet? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like Phantom, Soulflare? We have Jupiter. We have Magic Eden, Moby, and gosh, what is this one right here? What is it? What help me out with this one? I forget which that one is. Is that let me see. I'm not familiar with that logo. But yeah, we got Magic Eden, Moby, Jupiter, Soulflare, and Phantom. So recently, I think the first Solana wallet that I started to use was obviously Phantom. That was like the flagship wallet. But then at the same time, you had Soulflare. And then over time, we started to get an actual Jupiter wallet. So the Jupiter wallet's really good too. Like if you've ever downloaded the Jupiter wallet, the mobile app, clean, really nice interface. And it also is, if you like using Jupiter as a DEX, then it connects very well together. It kind of seamlessly connects. If you like that experience, you can kind of just do everything all inside the Jupiter ecosystem. Now, Soulflare just added something really cool. That is what everyone is starting to get into, is adding agent support and AI assistance. So this is pretty cool. So I haven't tested it out yet, but I guess you can't really test it out just yet, but you can get early access. And now this is cool because once I tell you about this, it's going to bring me back to a coin we were tracking for a long time on the AI meta, which was AGI, Delicium. So Delicium way back was actually creating a AI agent called Lucy that you would just talk to Lucy and say, I like transfer this amount to this, go. And you just prompt it and it would then send the transaction, do whatever you want it to do. But this was like 2 years. This was a year and a half, 2 years ago. This was like way before everyone was talking about the AI meta or the AI agents on Solana or anything like that. This was way before all that, but they're still around. And I've noticed when we started to get back into this AI agent talk and all this stuff and that narrative popping back to the timeline, the AI coins, and they started to pump again. I saw a little bump in the chart. So maybe that could be something we could be front running right now, whatever it may be. Like for me, that was like my little like low cap gem was AGI, Delicium. But then there might be something on your radar as well. But this would be the opportunity to just be front running this stuff right now. And then you already bought low. And when we get back into the euphoric points, that's how we can start to get like a great front running price on what people are going to start jumping back into. And this is with all of crypto, to be honest. Like the memes, your alts, Bitcoin itself, ETH, like everything is still at prices that we could accumulate and get a pretty damn good dollar cost average. And we just have to hold through the volatility, because I'm on way more of the side that we are going to get an alt season. We are going to get a nice run. We have everything set up for it. So it wouldn't make any sense for it not to happen, only as to if there's some crazy other black swan thing that could happen, false flag, alien invasion. I don't freaking, but yeah, we just have to, I'd rather not be on the sidelines and be, and just be actually taking some risks, because I think it's more risky to just be doing nothing. We got Kenneth Lodge in the house. Good morning. We got Wiley Coyote. I hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. We woke up so early this morning, went on the walk, and we were like, yeah, let's just go live. Let's go live. Wiley Coyote said, if America loses world currency standing, this will be the end of America. So that's like ushering in third world country status. Well, what I think they're doing is they're purposefully killing the dollar. They're purposefully killing the dollar to usher in a new standard. They're going to basically devalue and debase the US dollar, because there's no going back from what we've done besides continuing to debase it to then usher in a new money system, which would be set in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. That's what I'm coming to the conclusions now. Everything is leading into the conclusion of us setting up a new money system. And it's going to be run with stable coins, and that's how, and this is where I think it's huge. This is the thing that people are not understanding, and they're not connecting the dots, is that why do you think they're focusing so much on stablecoin regulation? Because that's going to be the mechanism of people getting universal quote base, the UBI, universal basic income. There's going to be thousands of people that are not capable of taking care of themselves. Let's just be honest. Some people can't take care of themselves. They need the system. They need the system. They need the benefits. They need all the stuff. They are incapable of taking care of themselves. That's a fact. And it's not prejudice. It's not racism. It's not classism. It is just a fact. There is people that don't have the strong will to take care of themselves. So this system exists for those people. And so there's going to be thousands of people that lose their jobs, and they're not going to know how to get back into the swing. And there's going to be people that are either going to commit crimes, or they're going to be homeless, or they're going to just not know what the hell to do. That's just the raw fact there. Universal basic income is going to be put into place through stable coins, through the state regulation, and every state is going to have a certain type of stable coin that is going to be issued to people that have lost their jobs. So the jobs data is going to continue to come out worse and worse and worse, and it's not going to get any better. Yeah, certain sectors are going to create jobs, but it's not going to be enough, I think, to combat the amount of the loss. So the ratio is going to be very skewed, and the only way to stop collective chaos into people rioting because they can't find food, they're going to probably get a universal basic income. So the stable coins is what is going to happen with that. And I think this actual full system that's going to be put up in the background is going to be powered by Bitcoin and powered by gold and silver. Okay. So, but this is where it's going to be really interesting, because there's going to be all these discussions of like centralization, tracking your transactions. It could go as far as, okay, well, if we're going to give you the stable coin, we're going to give you this, you could maybe you have restrictions on what you can buy. Maybe then at a point they say, well, we're giving you this money, but because it's on this blockchain, we can track what you're buying. We can track we can turn it off. If you don't spend it in enough time, it can smart contract right out of the wallet and just go right to where they want it to. There's all kinds of stuff that can start to get into what is ethical and whether it's now it's like a question of fully your freedoms being at risk here. So Yeah, there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting stuff happening over the next couple of years, and I just want to be trading it. I want to be buying it and trading it, all of this stuff, and not be a victim of it, but I want to be a product of being able to see that this stuff was happening and take advantage in a way that's not necessarily hurting people, but I want to take advantage in my platform and to say, hey guys, like this is going to come down the pipe. This is more so going to happen than not. So if we know that there's always a way that we can utilize this information to our advantage, then let's do it. Let's do it. So I don't think it's going to be like ignoring it and then being, oh, it's too risky. I don't want it to, I don't want to get involved. So yeah, I think it's really, there's going to be some plays here. So yeah, so let's get back into the AI assistant. So Magic AI, turn wishes into commands with our 24/7 on-chain AI assistant. What do AI assistants need to work? Blockchain. They need the blockchain and they need the code. They need all these different rails. And at a point, there's not going to be humans giving LLMs the models. They're just going to do it. Like the AI agents are just going to be doing things and they're going to be operating as an entity of their own for these companies. It's going to be crazy. Data centers. Yeah. Yeah, the data centers, all this stuff. Data centers flying in space, I don't know. But what's cool though is that no matter what, we do have options. That's what's cool is like, if you think that crypto is at risk, but you still want to be a part of the game, you can do that because then you can buy crypto. You can be diverse into Bitcoin, the altcoin space, and you can then also be in gold and silver and just like have the best of both worlds. That's what I'm starting to realize now is that if I would have just tweaked my strategy a little bit, if I would have just have tweaked my strategy just a little bit to know that like you do have to have something physical and tangible also, not just being all in on crypto, because I got very much all in on crypto. I could have been at the same time looking at gold and silver and thinking, this is like tried and true. If anything, printed fiat money, it's like there is no value but the trust and the power of the US military and the dollar. But so then what is the second best? It would be physical gold, precious metals that we've used as a form of currency, and we also have to use it to make stuff. So that's just like kind of just using your brain, dumb crypto person, to think, okay, like let me just hedge a little bit into gold and silver as well to build a nice diversified portfolio of assets. So it sometimes you can get a little crazy and delusional to your detriment, but then also your delusion could be for your betterment if you're delusional long enough. Because that's just like with the Bitcoin people. They were delusional long enough to reap the reward. And people like Pavel Durov and all the OG Bitcoin people buying Bitcoin were able to fund their entire lifestyle and companies and lose money and do whatever they want because they have so much liquid capital to be able to do so, But yeah, so so like, yeah, so we're thinking about gold, we're thinking about silver, we're thinking, look, like just build a strong portfolio all around. And even if that includes real estate, make sure that you're watching the real estate market as well, because there's going to be opportunities for the market to continue to go lower. The rates obviously are getting cheaper. Funny enough, if you look at how the stock market's been operating, it's like we're breaking all-time highs. S&P's breaking all-time highs. You know, we have, look, I mean, let's go to the S&P. Basically running up to close at the end of the year at $7,000. Now, what would be perfectly timed is that the S&P hits a brand new all-time high at the 1618. It rejects off this 618. Perfectly timed for the feds to be injecting more money into the system, lowering the rates. It goes right back down to 6,200. People cash out, take their profits. Oh, guess what? Oh, now real estate's down and cheaper. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect setup that real estate has been so overpriced. No one the market's out of the market is just in shambles essentially in terms of supply. There's so much supply out there and no demand. But the stock market is pumping. So I think this, and my friend told me, he was like, this is my quant in real life. He said, look, it's a game that they've been playing for forever. They pump the stock market, they take profits. All the while, the market for housing and real estate was doing its thing. Now when they take the profits, guess what's perfectly at the lows and has been manipulated to the downside a little bit is the real estate. Real estate then gets bought up by those same people that just made a bunch of money in the stock market. Then they do the same thing, and it's basically a rinse and repeat, all going to the upside. So if that is true, and we know that is a game that is to be played, let's pay attention to it and try and not time it exactly of what and like the exact time to be quote buying in, but we just really need to pay it. We just got to pay attention. We got to know that these games are being played, and we could potentially use it to our advantage in real estate and also in buying these assets. So then if that's the case, then you would have been buying, you would have not even been in real estate at all. You would have been buying assets, waiting to get a return. Then you're going to take your profits at the highs in the stock market. And then once we get back down into quote the lows, this is where you have an opportunity to scoop up real estate. It's pretty interesting. We got Eric Espacino in the house. All right, guys, I'm going to end the live stream because we have another live stream that we're going to be doing at 11. So we were just doing like a morning discussion. Just realizing what time it is, 7:27. Yep. But I appreciate you guys popping in for just a little bit. And I was just curious to see what the algorithm would do for me here for the morning. Yeah, let's see how many people actually even came in to tune in. Yep. Okay. Yep. 1 person on X, 5 on YouTube. Yeah. All right. Bit of a ghost town, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at 11. All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. Hope you appreciated some of the info today, and I'll see you later.